You said I should be married, right?
What I should have said is most people your age are already pretty well settled.
Are pretty well settled, yes. I lived on my own for 10 years. How do you...
On your own, but by yourself.
I had roommates. Most people don't have the want or need to live by themselves unless they're making over like $100,000 or like around $80,000, even $80,000 a year. People don't want to live by themselves, so they get a roommate. You can't buy property unless it's like $1 million. How long have you lived in Chicago for?
Oh, about 75 years.
75 years. The average cost of a house is around $500,000. If you sum it all up in averages, about like 300,000 to 5. I'm getting my information from the time, the decade I was there, and so I was on my own for 10 years. Now, what part of that is senile? And I should be self-sufficient right now, and why should I be married?
All I said was most people your age are pretty well settled right now.
Most people my age didn't leave Rockford, and
oh, there we go with a bunch of excuses.
No, they statistically they have sex with people they don't love, and then they have children, and then they stay in the same location.
I don't want to go there, okay?
But that's what you're promoting.
No, it's not what I'm promoting. It's the way
You are. You're saying I should have children.
I said you should be established.
I should be established, and you did say I should have children.
I said most people your age are married with children. Settled.
And live in a $100,000 house or less, there's only a few who get lucky and are able to afford like a $500,000 house at this.
Why do you have to have a $500,000 house? What's the matter with this house?
What's the matter with what house? What do you mean?
It's not a $500,000 house.
But this isn't my house.
You think that you're ever going to have a $500,000 house?
Yeah.
You do. How are you going to get it? What are your plans to get it?
Well, for one, this is not my house.
That's not what I asked you.
Did I ever want this house?
That's not what I asked you.
My car got taken.
See, you changed the subject.
How did I change the subject?
I asked you how you plan on getting a $500,000 home, and you turn around and say something else, totally different.
Because my clothes were thrown away.
You see? Different. Has nothing to do with a $500,000 home.
That's what.
Change the subject because you had no conception of how to get a $500,000 home.
I was assaulted.
You see? Change it again.
Driven out of the county.
You have no plans.
Like 12, 13 times. Falsely arrested.
Please leave me be, okay? All you know how to do is complain about what used to be.
Yeah,
You brought it all you did on yourself. Every single thing that's happened to you, you brought on yourself.
I never threatened you.
Please, that's enough. I don't want to go there anymore. If that's all you can talk about, please don't talk.
I realize I look a certain way, but what I'm trying to explain is that I can't get over this because because he lied to protect to protect my family, meaning his daughters. And his daughters are horrible people. They were never there for my grandmother. Growing up, she was my mother. My grandmother went to parent-teacher conferences. This son of a bitch knocked, I don't know how to say it. He was hateful towards my grandmother. He made my grandmother sit in the bathroom in the dark in a wheelchair as punishment. He wouldn't let her leave the house. The last few years she was alive, she fell down these stairs because he wouldn't build this handrail. And he wouldn't build a wheelchair ramp. Yeah, he threatened to commit suicide, and you have to understand that these people that was my, in all intents and purposes, that was my dad, and this was in regards to my grandmother, because my real dad, this son of a bitch lets my real dad do hardcore drugs, drive his car around, and he's and in the past, I'll just say, so my father is a rapist and is a convicted rapist and spent, it's not a big deal, and spent 25 years in prison for rape, and now he's bringing another woman into this house, my grandmother's house, and he's having sex with her, and I can't tell that woman that he's a convicted sex offender, and I can't tell any woman that he's a convicted sex offender. And my father's the type of person who gets into a car, drives the car around, and starts shooting people. So do you see that I stuck around, and the Rockford Police Department, the mayor of Rockford, the state's attorney, the clerk, said that my grandfather is a saint. He stole my car. And I said, well, I don't need a car if I'm taking care of my grandmother right now. I'll deal with it later. But when my father got released from jail, and it just like, I just can't believe that they both neglected my grandmother until like you can, until you see how my grandfather just is such a horrible parent. He's okay with my father and the way his actions, criminal or not. It's literally, you have to understand that my grandfather doesn't look like a cartel. And it's not funny because he's allowing my father to potentially rape another woman. And he, my entire life, denied that my father had actually raped anybody. My grandfather denies that my father raped anybody. My father went to jail for 25 years for raping 2 women. So we need to really take a moment, forget that idea. We need to really, really accept that how people viewed my grandfather was incorrect. And how we're handling it by allowing my father to assault me, it's I'm moving forward. My father, while on parole, assaulted me. I told the parole officer, and he did nothing. So I told the police, and they did nothing. My point is that you can't think positive about somebody because you've known them, because you see them every day. These people are just that stupid and that judgmental and make that many wrong, build up that many wrong connections that, yeah, they that's how you get everybody to think negatively. And here I am saying nope. Like now I can prove it. This to me is enough to prove that as long as I have this evidence and it's there, that the most they can say is they don't want to watch the video. And if you don't watch the video, that's like a win in court for me. It really it pretty much is a win in court for me. But because the underlying evidence is still there. It is very much still there. And I think I'm really pointing out a really key problem in America. And if we're going to allow our police department to behave this way, and we're going to allow a judge to let somebody commit perjury and violate their parole and threaten people and cause torture, then I think there's a better solution. And I know there's a few different ways that it is solved, but why is it so difficult just to get rid of these people? Why? Just like get rid of them. Figure it out from there.